One signing. Three completely different Barcelona lineups. And every single one of them is terrifying for the rest of Europe. Welcome back. Today we are talking about the transfer story that has been quietly building momentum behind the scenes at Barcelona, and one that, if it comes to fruition, could genuinely reshape the entire landscape of European football next season. Julian Alvarez, the Argentine, the World Cup winner. One of the most complete forwards in world football right now, and a player who, according to everything coming out of the Camp Nou right now, is very much on Barcelona's radar as their long-term solution in the number 9 role. Now, before we get into the lineups, before we get into the three completely different ways Hansi Flick could deploy Alvarez and why every single one of them is a nightmare for opposing defenses, we need to talk about the bigger picture. Because this is not just a transfer story. This is a statement. This is Barcelona under Flick and Laporta making a declaration about where this club is heading and what they are prepared to do to get there. And when you understand the full context, the why behind this pursuit, the problem it solves, the vision it represents, the excitement around this signing goes to a completely different level. So let us start at the beginning. Let us start with the problem. Barcelona have a number 9 situation that needs addressing, and the sooner people say that out loud, the better. Because for all the brilliance of this Barcelona side under Flick, and there has been genuine, spectacular brilliance, the striker position has been a question mark that has sat quietly in the background of this entire season. Robert Lewandowski is 37 years old. Say what you want about his performances, and his performances have been genuinely impressive at times. His 2 goals against Newcastle in the Champions League round of 16 being the most recent reminder of exactly what he still brings to this team. But the reality of his situation cannot be ignored forever. He is 37. His contract runs until the end of this season. And while there are conversations happening about whether he might sign one more year, whether a Champions League triumph might change the calculus, the fundamental truth is that Barcelona cannot build their next chapter around a 37-year-old striker. They simply cannot. Ferran Torres has played the number 9 role when Lewandowski has been unavailable or rested. And Torres is a useful player, versatile, hardworking, capable of contributing goals and assists. But nobody, not the coaching staff, not the board, not the fans, nobody looks at Ferran Torres and sees the long-term answer to Barcelona's striker problem. He is not that player. He was never meant to be that player. So the position is open. The need is clear, and Deco, Flick, and Laporta are all aligned on one thing. The next number 9 at Barcelona needs to be a statement signing, not a stopgap, not a rotation option, a genuine, elite-level forward who can be the focal point of this attack for the next 5 or 6 years. A player who makes Barcelona genuinely better immediately and whose best years are still ahead of him. That description fits exactly one player who is currently being discussed in connection with this club, Julian Alvarez. And once you understand why, once you understand the specific qualities he brings and the specific problems he solves, you will understand why this pursuit makes complete sense. Let us talk about who Julian Alvarez actually is, because I think there is a version of this conversation that undersells him, that treats him as simply a good player who would be a decent addition. And that version of the conversation is completely wrong. Julian Alvarez is 25 years old. He is in the absolute prime of his career, at the age where athleticism and experience combine, where the raw talent that has always been there is now wrapped in the tactical intelligence and competitive maturity that only comes from years of performing at the highest level. He is an Argentina international who won the World Cup in Qatar. He has won the Champions League with Manchester City. He has played under Pep Guardiola, one of the most demanding tactical environments in world football, and not just survived, but thrived. And right now, at Atletico Madrid, he is having one of the best seasons of his career. His numbers are extraordinary. His performances have been consistently at an elite level. He is one of the most in-form attackers in European football right now. And he is doing it in a system, Diego Simeone's system, that is completely different from the kind of football Barcelona play, which tells you something very important. It tells you that Alvarez's quality is not system dependent. It is not a product of playing in a particular structure or alongside a particular set of teammates. It is genuine, transferable, world-class quality that will show up regardless of the context. For Flick, that is enormously attractive. Because what Flick needs is not a player who fits one specific role in one specific system. What Flick needs is a player who gives him options, who can be deployed in multiple ways depending on the opponent, the match situation, the tactical requirements of any given game. A player who makes Barcelona better not just in one way, but in several different ways simultaneously. And this is where the free lineup options become so fascinating. Because Alvarez does not just solve one problem for Barcelona, he solves three. The first option, and the most straightforward one, is Alvarez as the lone striker, the number 9, the central focal point of Flick's attack. On the surface, this looks like a simple like-for-like replacement for Lewandowski. Striker leaves, striker arrives. Same position, same role, next chapter. But when you look at it more carefully, when you compare what Alvarez brings to that position versus what Lewandowski has been providing, the differences are significant. And those differences are largely positive for the kind of football Flick wants to play. Lewandowski is a box striker. He is one of the greatest box strikers in the history of the game. His positioning, his movement inside the penalty area, his finishing with both feet and his head are at a level that very few players in any generation have matched. But his game is predominantly inside the box. His contribution to the phases of play that happen before the ball reaches the penalty area, the pressing, the linking, the movement that creates space for others is more limited than what Flick's system ideally demands from a central striker. Alvarez is different. He is a connector, a player who does not wait in the box for the ball to come to him, but instead goes and finds it. He drops into pockets of space between the lines, receives under pressure, lays it off, and immediately makes a run. He drags defenders out of position, which sounds simple, but has an enormous knock-on effect on the entire attacking structure. When the center back follows Alvarez out of position to press him in midfield, the space that opens up inside the box is immediately available for the runs of Rafinha, Yamal, or a late arriving midfielder. In practical terms, this means that a Barcelona lineup with Alvarez as the lone striker would look structurally very similar to what we have seen under Flick this season. The same wide threats, the same midfield structure, the same high pressing principles, but with a more dynamic, more mobile, more tactically versatile focal point at the top of it. The transition between Lewandowski and Alvarez in this role would require minimal disruption to the system. And the upgrade in terms of pressing intensity, movement off the ball, and contribution in the build-up phases would be immediate and significant. This is the safe option, the controlled option, the one that gives Flick stability and certainty while also giving him a clear upgrade at the most important position on the pitch. But it is far from the most exciting option, because the second way Flick could use Alvarez is where things start to get genuinely interesting. The second option is Alvarez as the number 10, behind Lewandowski. And this is the one that, when you really think about it, might be the most tactically fascinating possibility of all. Stay with me here, because I know the immediate reaction to the suggestion for some people will be, why would you sign one of the best strikers in the world and play him in a deeper role? Why would you bring in Julian Alvarez and not play him as the number 9? The answer is this. Alvarez is not a traditional number 10. He is not a playmaker in the classic sense, not a player who dictates tempo, who sprays long passes, who is the creative brain of the team. What Alvarez is, when he plays behind a striker, is something far more dangerous in the context of Flick's system. He is a pressing machine with goals, a player who works tirelessly without the ball, who hunts the opposition defensive line with intensity, who creates chaos through movement and energy, and who, when the ball arrives, has the technical quality and finishing ability to punish any defensive mistake. The numbers support this completely. When Alvarez has been used as a second striker or an attacking midfielder in those deeper, more hybrid roles, he has scored 17 goals and registered 14 assists in 46 matches. 31 goal contributions from a position that is not even his primary role. That is an extraordinary number. That is the kind of output that most dedicated attacking midfielders would be proud of. Now imagine that in Flick's system, Lewandowski occupying the center backs, holding his position, using his movement and experience to create the spaces that he has always been so expert at creating. And behind him, in the half spaces, in the pockets between the opposition midfield and defense, Alvarez, arriving late, pressing aggressively, combining quickly with Pedri and Gavi. And then, in the moments that matter most, arriving into the box at exactly the right time, with exactly the right energy to finish. This is not a theoretical possibility. This is a combination that has the potential to be one of the most devastating attacking partnerships in European football. Because the thing that makes great attacking partnerships work, the thing that makes defenders genuinely unable to cope, is when one player is predictable enough to hold shape and create space, and the other is unpredictable enough to exploit that space in ways the defense cannot plan for. Lewandowski and Alvarez in this dynamic would be exactly that. The experienced, positionally brilliant target man holding the line, and the relentless, high-energy, tactically intelligent second striker making life impossible for anyone trying to defend against them. And then there is the pressing dimension. Flick's system demands that his forwards press with intensity and intelligence. Lewandowski presses, but his pressing is measured, conservative, the pressing of a 37-year-old who needs to manage his energy carefully. Alvarez presses like a man possessed. He is relentless. He suffocates defenders. He forces mistakes. He turns turnovers in dangerous areas into immediate scoring opportunities. In terms of what Flick wants from his forward line without the ball, Alvarez in the number 10 role would be a complete transformation of Barcelona's pressing capability. This is the option that excites me most from a tactical standpoint. But the third option, the most aggressive, most high-risk, most devastatingly attack-minded of the three, is the one that will excite the fans most. And honestly, I understand why. The third option is the one you play when you need goals, when you need intensity, when you look across at the other dugout and decide, tonight, we are going to overwhelm you. Tonight, we are not going to give you a single moment of peace, a single moment to breathe, a single moment where you feel safe on this football pitch. Alvarez and Torres together, up front, both of them starting, both of them pressing, running, interchanging, creating chaos. Now on the surface, this looks like a lineup that sacrifices control, and it does to a degree. When you put two forwards in a system that has typically used one, you are changing the balance of the team. You are asking midfielders to do more defensive work. You are accepting that there will be moments where Barcelona are more exposed on the counter than they would normally be. But here is the thing about what Alvarez and Torres can do together that makes the trade-off worth it in specific situations. Both of them press relentlessly. Both of them are comfortable interchanging positions, dropping deep, running in behind, appearing on either side of the pitch in ways that defensive structures are not designed to track. And both of them are capable of scoring and assisting, which means the opposition cannot simply identify one focal point and organize their defense around him. There is no clear focal point. There are two of them, moving constantly, creating problems from every angle, and then consider who is on the wings in this lineup. Rafinha on one side, Lamine Yamal on the other. Two of the most dangerous wide players in European football, both of them at or near the peak of their powers. Both of them capable of completely destroying a fullback 1-versus-1 and delivering into the box with quality and precision. Four attacking players, Alvarez, Torres, Rafinha, Yamal, all of them pressing, all of them running, all of them capable of scoring, all of them capable of creating. Against a team that sits deep and defends in a low block, trying to frustrate Barcelona and hit them on the counter, this lineup is not just difficult to defend against. It is almost impossible. Because you cannot drop into a deep defensive shape and deal with four players of that quality pressing you simultaneously. You will make mistakes. You will concede. It is a mathematical certainty. Flick would not use this lineup every week. The tactical demands are too high, the defensive exposure too significant for it to be a sustainable approach across a full season. But as a weapon, as something you bring out in specific moments, in specific matches, when the game demands that Barcelona go all out and simply outscore whoever is in front of them, this is one of the most terrifying attacking configurations in world football. And the fact that Flick would have all three of these options available, that he could switch between them depending on the opponent, the match situation, the specific tactical problem he needs to solve. That is what makes the Alvarez signing not just exciting, but genuinely transformative. Now let us address the obvious question. The one that comes up every single time Barcelona are linked with a significant signing. The financial question. Julian Alvarez will not be cheap. Let us be completely clear about that. He is a World Cup winner in his mid-20s, performing at an elite level, with years of peak football still ahead of him. Atletico Madrid paid significant money to bring him from Manchester City. Any club wanting to take him away from the Metropolitano this summer will need to make a major financial commitment. That is the reality. And Barcelona are aware of it. They are not approaching this situation with naive optimism about getting Alvarez for a bargain fee. The conversations happening internally at the club are serious. Realistic conversations about whether this financial commitment is justified, whether the timing is right, and whether the budget can be structured in a way that makes this signing possible without creating problems elsewhere. But here is the internal conclusion that Deco, Flick, and Laporta are reaching. A forward who offers the tactical flexibility that Alvarez offers, who can be the lone striker, the number 10, or the partner in a two-man attack depending on what the match demands, does not just solve one problem. He solves multiple problems simultaneously. And when a single signing solves multiple problems at once, the financial calculus changes because you are not just buying a striker. You're buying options, versatility, and solutions that would otherwise require 2 or 3 separate transfer investments to address. That is the argument being made internally, and it is a compelling one. Because the alternative, bringing in a more limited, cheaper striker who only fits one specific role, means that the tactical flexibility question remains unanswered. Flick still cannot deploy the number 10 option. He still cannot go to the two-striker system when the game demands it. He still has limitations that a more complete player eliminates entirely. Investing heavily in Alvarez is not just a footballing decision, it is a statement. It is Barcelona saying, loudly, clearly, without ambiguity, that we are back, that we are serious, that we intend to compete at the highest level, not just this season, but for the next 5 years, and that we are prepared to back our manager and our vision with the kind of financial commitment that genuinely elite clubs make when they identify a generational opportunity. Let us talk about fit, because beyond the tactical diagrams, beyond the lineup options and the financial conversations, there is a simpler question that always matters in football. Does this player fit this club? Does he fit this system? Does he fit this culture? And the answer, emphatically, unambiguously, is yes. Alvarez has spent his entire career in environments that demand tactical intelligence, collective effort, and an absolute refusal to switch off at any moment. At River Plate, at Manchester City under Guardiola, at Atletico Madrid under Simeone, 3 of the most demanding tactical environments in world football. 3 managers who accept nothing less than total commitment to the collective. 3 clubs where individual brilliance is valued only in the context of what it contributes to the team. That profile, a player who is elite individually, but who subordinates his individual ambitions to the needs of the collective, is exactly what Flick looks for. Flick's system does not work with passengers. It does not work with players who switch off, who coast, who perform in moments, but disappear in others. Every single player in a squad is expected to contribute at both ends of the pitch in every phase of play for the full 90 minutes. And Alvarez does that, consistently, reliably, at the highest level. There is also the human element. Alvarez is 25 years old. He is ambitious. He has won the Champions League. He has won the World Cup. But he is a player who still has enormous things to achieve, who has not yet won La Liga, who has not yet been the undisputed number 1 attacking player at one of the world's greatest clubs. Barcelona, under Flick, with Yamal and Rafinha and Pedri and Gavi alongside him, would give him that platform. It would give him the opportunity to be the focal point of one of the most exciting attacks in European football. And for a player of his quality and ambition, that opportunity is genuinely appealing. The fit is right. The timing is right. The need is clear. And the player is available. Not desperately, not at any price, but available in the sense that Atletico Madrid would listen to the right offer and Alvarez himself would seriously consider the right proposal. There is one more dimension to this story that I want to address before we wrap up. And it is the dimension that, in many ways, is the most important of all, the Flick dimension. Hansi Flick has now publicly committed his future to Barcelona. He has said, in plain, unambiguous terms, that this will be his last club, his last job in football, and that he is happy, that he is building something that he believes in completely. When a manager of Flick's quality makes that kind of declaration, when he signals that clearly that he is not going anywhere, that he is invested in this project for the long term, it changes the nature of every transfer conversation. Because it means that the players Barcelona bring in are not being recruited for a system that might change next year when a new manager arrives with different ideas and different preferences. They are being recruited for a coherent, long-term vision. A vision that has already produced extraordinary results and has the stability and continuity to keep producing them. For Julian Alvarez specifically, this matters enormously. Because Alvarez is 25 years old. If he joins Barcelona this summer, he could be playing under Flick for the next 3, 4, maybe 5 years. That is an extraordinary amount of time to develop a deep understanding with a manager, to learn the system completely, to become the most important player in that system, to win trophies, multiple trophies, under a manager who clearly knows how to put together a team capable of winning them. That is not just an attractive proposition for Alvarez. That is potentially the best possible move he could make for his career at this specific point in time. A settled club with a world-class manager who is not going anywhere. An attack built around some of the most exciting young players in the world. A platform to become the focal point of one of the greatest clubs in football history. The alignment between what Barcelona need, what Flick is building, and what Alvarez can offer and wants to achieve is almost perfect. And in football, when that kind of alignment exists, when all the pieces point in the same direction at the same time, the best clubs act on it. So here's where we are. Barcelona have a number 9 problem. They have identified the solution. That solution is 25 years old, is one of the most complete forwards in world football, and can be deployed in 3 completely different ways that would each make Barcelona genuinely more dangerous than they already are. Option 1. Alvarez as the lone striker, more dynamic, more mobile, more pressing intensive than Lewandowski. A seamless transition into the system Flick has built with an immediate upgrade in movement and build-up contribution. Option 2. Alvarez is the number 10 behind Lewandowski. 31 goal contributions from a deeper role. Relentless pressing. Late runs into the box. One of the most devastating second striker profiles in European football, paired with one of the greatest box strikers the game has ever produced. Option 3. Alvarez and Torres together up front. The all-out attack option. The lineup you select when you look across the pitch and decide that tonight you are simply going to overwhelm whoever is standing in your way. 1 player, 3 options, and every single one of them terrifying for the rest of Europe. The question is not whether this signing makes sense. The question is whether Barcelona move quickly enough, decisively enough, and confidently enough to make it happen. Because a player like Julian Alvarez at 25, at the peak of his powers, performing at this level, will not wait forever. Other clubs are watching. Other offers will come. And the window to make this happen, while it exists, will not stay open indefinitely. Barcelona know what they need. Deco knows who can provide it. And Flick knows exactly what he would do with him once he arrives. Now it is time to see whether the club acts on that knowledge. Come back for the latest updates on this story, because this one is going to develop quickly, and you will not want to miss a single development. Like the video if this gave you something to think about. Subscribe if Barcelona content at this level is what you want on your feed every single week. And drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you want Alvarez at Barcelona? Which of the 3 lineup options excites you most? And do you think Barcelona will actually pull this one off? Until next time.